Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Sheng and I help organizations and people think through their toughest problems. Last time on update number 1 of MyMap Nation, I talked about why the community and the websites exist. And today we're going to walk through the new website. If you're new to mind mapping, where to start, the launch timeline, the membership benefits, pricing, as well as the application process. So we got a bit to go through. Let's hit it. All right, this is the homepage, and it just went live earlier this week, right? Because before it was just a landing page. Probably the most important tab here, or one of the most important ones, is the launch updates one. And this is where you're gonna find weekly updates of basically all of the progress I've been making. So right here is the timeline. So August 10th, new homepage just went live, as well as a start here page that I'll walk you through. This is where, if you're new to mind mapping and all my content, is gonna find kind of the best of articles. And then you have the 8/17, so next week it's gonna be the community site preview. And this is gonna be separate from the mymapnation.com site, which is more of a content page, right? Content website. This is actually gonna be built on the Circle platform, and it's gonna feature your top support channels, discussion channels, and the basic structure of that community will be completed, and I'll share with you guys by August 17th. And then the following week on the 24th is where I'm going to share the community events, right? These are like the weekly office hours, coaching sessions, and monthly AMAs, right? And also going to be weekly power hour productivity co-working times, where basically I'm going to sign on. I'm going to keep all of you guys company while we crank out some really good work. I'm going to share that community calendar with you guys on that date, as well as the acceptance emails to the application, which I'll go into in a bit. And then the next week, at the end of August, is going to be the members dashboard. This is where you're going to be able to log in finally and access some of the benefits, right? You won't be able to access the community just yet. That's going to be the following week. But you're going to be able to access, for example, the ebooks that I've written around mind mapping fundamentals, as well as 7 days to mind map mastery. And that's going to be completely free for you guys, Mind Map Nation members, whereas it's going to go on sale for the general public the following week. So you guys will actually get it for free early access as well. And then the next one is going to be September 7th. This is when the community site is actually going to go full live, right? You'll be able to log in and start introducing yourselves and starting the conversations that we're really looking forward to. And then the following week, we're going to give a few days for people to trickle in and stuff. But the following week, we're going to have a launch event kickoff with an intro meeting with all of you guys, just, because I think you are all from pretty much around the world. I cannot wait for that to happen and see you guys live, face to face, and get to know all of you. Finally, there is that Wednesday, the first Epiphany newsletter is going to go out. For those of you guys who are not familiar, Epiphany is the newsletter name for MyMap Nation. And every week, I'm going to send out one mind map of whatever scenario, whatever use case, as well as one epiphany that I've had during the week, right? So like a brilliant idea that just, struck. Also share another epiphany, somebody else's brilliant idea that I came across either through the community or from my readings and interactions. Definitely keep tabs on this page, right? The launch updates page for the latest on what's going on. And then next we have start here. I've been creating content for a while now, and the biggest feedback that I've gotten is that, hey, where do I start? What are your top 5? What are your top 10 if I'm just getting started in mind mapping, intentional productivity, systems thinking, whatever. So, for that, I've compiled this particular page, right? For mind mapping, I've got, these couple of links. It's about 10 links or so that you can go through. And after you go through these, you'll probably have a much better idea of what mind maps are, why you should use mind maps, what is the real power of mind maps, which is training us to be associative thinkers, when to use these mind maps, and how to go about it, right? So this is my recommended place to start. All right, what you'll notice is that the start here is going to mirror all the topics that of the articles that is on MyMap Nation. So for example, we have structured thinking, intentional productivity, harnessing creativity, inner cultivation, and strategy nerd. Let's go through these really quick, one at a time. So structured thinking is really this is where mind mapping really comes in, right? So frameworks, mental models, systems thinking, basically how do you approach life's chaos and cut through the noise and think more clearly, right? This is where you're gonna find all these like framework type of articles and content. The next one is intentional productivity. I think that if we just focus on productivity without the intention, without understanding why, we're kind of just running on a hamster wheel for the most part, right? Basically, it's a rat race. So it's like, where are you going in life and how will you get there? These articles are literally centered around that. So for example, annual planning with mind maps, sufficient purpose, knowing your purpose before you pursue anything and knowing what is enough to get there. All right, harnessing creativity. This particular category I thought a lot about, mainly because, before I had this whole like accelerated learning kind of category, but then I stopped and asked myself, what is the purpose of learning after you have graduated school? Because during school, you're trying to just like earn a grade, go through, the hoops, try to get to the next level. But after you graduate from school, like what does actually spaced repetition even like do for you? My conclusion about the purpose of learning is actually to harness our creativity, to actually create things, create value. Because every product, every company, every movement, every book, every song, it started as an idea that came to somebody's head. It came as an epiphany. Therefore, there is an entire process that goes from turning that epiphany or idea into productive output, right? These are the things that we bring to the world that create value for others as well as value for us. And what you'll notice is that there's no mind mapping category. And it's because mind mapping is just a generalist tool and it really depends on your use case of what you're using it for. Is it used for structured thinking? Is it used to enhance your intentions around what you want to do? Or is it around, let's say, inner cultivation, right? Like you're doing inner work. For example, mapping out your emotions. So mapping itself isn't really a category, but to this extent, inner cultivation is one of the use cases, for example, of mind mapping, right? So it really depends on your use case. Finally, we've got strategy nerd. This is where I just kind of unleash my inner kind of curiosity on whatever it is that strikes my fancy at the time. And this is kind of where I took more of the creative liberty. But if you want to be along for the ride and kind of explore these topics with me, this is where you'll find all that content. And then we have mind mapping books. This is less of a topic, it's more of kind of a landing page essentially, or an information page for the books that's coming up. And here you'll find like a sneak peek of the contents of the book, Mind Mapping Fundamentals, where I go through essentially anatomy of a mind map, tools and techniques to really get yourself started if you're new to it. Mind Mapping Mastery in 7 Days is all about leveling up your mind mapping skills with 7-day program. We're spending around 30 minutes a day doing a particular mind map and then progressively getting more used to the technique. And all you need is a pen and paper. And I've actually given you the day one daily to-do list tutorial, and this is what to expect from the book as well. So definitely check that out if you're just starting out with mind mapping and want to improve your chops. All right, moving on to membership. This one is a big one, right? So this is where the site that I'm building, the home that I'm building for connected thinkers, this is where you're going to find people who are as driven, as inquisitive as you are so that we can grow together. And the cost for this, to keep everything running and stuff is going to be $15 per month, monthly, or you can purchase the annual, which is $120 total, but it's going to spread your costs out to $10 per month, right? And right now it's actually going through an application process for what I call the founding cohort or the founding group, because you guys are the ones who are most passionate or at the front of the pack who want to join the conversation right from the get-go. And I cannot wait to actually meet you guys. Going back to what you get out of your membership. First of all, it's a community. As I mentioned, it's hard to grow alone. This is where you find people to level up together. And then the founders badge, which is just my appreciation saying, hey, you guys are initial cohort. Everybody else who joins after you guys within, probably I'll extend this for the first 1 or 2 months of launch, then open up to public. But you guys are going to be the initial cohort that's going to go through, the front runners. And then exclusive events. So these are essentially the weekly office hours I'll hold to answer any of the questions that you have around just not just mind mapping, but anything really, right? It's almost kind of like an open forum of sorts. And then power hour co-working sessions for basically productivity, because accountability is really nice. I'm just going to be online for an hour or two or so, and then you guys can sign on and we just keep ourselves accountable. Monthly AMAs. I did an AMA over YouTube the other month, and it was super fun just interacting with you guys, putting myself on the hot seat and just going at it. And then finally, of course, community workshops, because all of you guys have so much to give, so much hidden talent that I would like to surface, right? If you guys have a workshop about a particular topic, let's say second brain or idea generation, mind mapping use cases or whatever, I would love to feature you guys and gift that hopefully to the community as well. And then this is actually something I'm really excited about, which is weekly one-on-one coaching. One of my goals of making MMN is actually making myself more accessible, because right now for coaching, it's $500 an hour, right? I recognize that not everybody can afford this. And through my coaching sessions, I know it's a huge value for a lot of people. And therefore, I want to make it so that it's free on a weekly basis. And all you have to do essentially, number one, be a member. Number two is to submit a prompt. And if that prompt is selected, you're going to be eligible essentially for that weekly one-on-one coaching. All right, mind mapping books, as I mentioned, 100% free for all the members, right? And then challenges. This is going to be really interesting. So these are 1 or 2 week type of challenges where there's going to be a prompt. That could be the 7-day, mind mapping mastery challenge, right? Where you go through all the exercises every single day and then completely level up in mind mapping, or the 10-day empower mind maps challenge, which I'll actually have a separate video introducing that particular exercise or practice. But you'll be able to find people to do it together with you. And in fact, I will lead the first couple, as well as run a weekly retrospective just to see, your experience with this exercise and how it's helping you, and if you have any questions. Finally, there's the video vault, because we're gonna be creating a lot of content together too. All the workshops, the coaching sessions, this is where it's all gonna be recorded, and it's all accessible for you members. All right, so what happens after you apply? Well, first you want to submit this application, right? It's a simple 10 question survey. And then on the 24th, that's when I'm actually going to send out all the invitation emails if you've been accepted. And then finally, on when MindMap Nation actually launches on the 7th, you'll be able to log in to the community and start the conversations. Anyways, check that launch update page for more to come. I think that covers pretty much everything in this update about the website. On the third and next update, I'm gonna go through the Circle community, and by that time, we're gonna have the basic structure, basically the topic channels, the support groups, as well as the documentation. I also go into some of the members' events more specifically, as well as share with you guys the calendar. All right, thank you so much for listening to this update. I cannot wait to see you guys on MindMap Nation. Have a great rest of the week, and I'll talk to you guys soon.